The creator of the poverty threshold, Molly Orshansky, once said, "If it be true that the children of the poor today are themselves destined to be the impoverished parents of tomorrow, then some social intervention is needed to break the cycle, to interrupt the circuits of hunger and hopelessness that link generation to generation." In this research project, we address the question, what is the impact of poverty on child mental development? Poverty is a cycle. It affects the parents, the child, and the child's future. Poverty is associated with higher levels of financial insecurity, domestic and community violence, malnutrition, and an unstable living environment, which all lead to stress. What is stress? For families in poverty, this can be found in forms of financial hardship, job insecurity, marital conflict, or violence, to name a few. Stress affects the mental health and development of kids. How?
Affects the parent. Constant stress affects a parent's behavior and mental health. How does it do this? The body responds to stress with certain physiologic reactions. With each stressor, these reactions are turned on and off. If this process happens constantly, the body creates something called allostatic load. Studies have linked this allostatic load with anxiety, depression, and hostility in parents. When a parent is stressed and hurting, they are less able to nurture their child. Children that are treated harshly may become emotionally attached to their parent and experience low self-esteem and other behavioral problems. Without a supportive home, their development is affected negatively.
The next step in the cycle is the effects on the child. Children's brain development is drastically affected. The white and cortical gray matter is much smaller in children living in poverty than in a child in a higher social economic status. The hippocampus and amygdala volumes in the brain are also much smaller. These areas are involved in stress and emotions and are very sensitive to environmental stressors. These developmental issues in children with low SES can be attributed to poor nutrients and education, lack of a supportive environment, and/or traumatic life events. It can also cause poor cognitive outcomes in school performances, and these children are at higher risk for antisocial behaviors and mental disorders. The lifestyle of poverty leads to chronic stress, which in turn leads to hindered brain development, which will affect the child of poverty their whole lives.
As children develop in chronic poverty, their future career and education trajectories are negatively impacted. Children who are exposed to high levels of stress due to poverty exhibit less activity in the prefrontal cortex and amygdala as an adult, meaning they are less able to control their emotions. When allostatic load is increased during childhood, there is a reduction in working memory as an adult. Longer durations in poverty result in a shorter span of sequential information an adult can hold in their working memory. Socioeconomic adversity early in life also increases risks of depressive symptoms and BMI, which affects many other health situations. Stress in childhood and adolescence causes a lasting long-term influence on physical health issues in young adulthood. Research suggests that many adult diseases should be viewed as developmental disorders that begin early in life and that persistent health disparities are associated with poverty. The economically disadvantaged adults now affected mentally by higher rates of stressors continue the cycle, impacting their children in the same way.
In summary, poverty is a cycle that begins with stressful parenting, which leads to stressful childhoods, affecting their mental development, which in turn leads to stressful adulthoods, and the cycle continues. If intervention is needed to break this never-ending cycle, then the question remains, what are we doing to help?